What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is the final episode, episode 5, about the 5-episode series that I've made talking to Kabam about how they can improve their beloved game for us and for them. And the final topic here is about monetization. This is specifically talking about how Kabam is struggling to monetize Marvel Contest of Champions despite it being one of the most successful mobile games that has reached the 10-year mark. Okay, to give you context, on October 3rd, 2025, Kabam Crashed, one of the community engagers and devs from Kabam, made a post on their forum saying they wanted to take this whole dev diary moment to talk about how game monetization has become increasingly difficult for this company, which is why we're seeing a bunch of sales come up, every single thing feeling like a money grab, and whales are being milked left and right. So if you want to read what that dev diary said extensively, you can go ahead and do it. I personally completely empathize and understand where they're coming from as a company, but at the same time, everything that they're talking about seems extremely easily solvable to me. Okay, and in this video, I'm going to actually explain how I suggest Kabam monetize this game. All right, first up, they have something called the Platinum Track. This comes out every 3 to 4 months. Okay, it runs for 3 to 4 months sometimes, and it essentially gives you one 7-star champion that is the new taste flavor of the month style, right? It's either an old champion who just got buff, we got Cyclops, and we got Captain Britain. That was the last Platinum Pass. Then we also occasionally get newer champions. We got Beta Ray Bill, I think was the first one. Then we got Dazzler. Now we're going to get a new champion, which is a Mystic Spider-Man from India, Pavitra Prabhakar. Awesome, cool design from the champion. But I think Kabam could do more with Platinum Track. Here's a simple way to monetize Platinum Track every single month. Every single month in MCOC, Kabam comes up with 2 new champions. There's 2 champions that release every month. It has been this way for years, okay? There's been some rare occasions in December where they only launch 1 champion, but for this video's sake, we're going to talk about them having 2 different champions. Kabam needs to start the Platinum Track every single month. Every month, you increase the price. It's, I think, currently sitting at $35 for me. I'm not sure if it's Canadian or US, but for me, it's $35 Canadian with tax added on top. Switch it to $50 a month and have a selector at the end of the 30-day mark where all players who buy the Platinum Track can get one of the 2 new champions that came out that month. Okay, this is a very easy way to have champions accessible to the player base. Okay, we have seen champions being sold on tracks. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. But for the Platinum Track, I think releasing new champions for direct money is a good way to do it. Throughout the month, they get more value by a bunch of other catalysts, resources, shards, and some extra units thrown in there. It's actually fun to get through the month knowing that at the end, you're going to get a big grand prize. And that prize has to be a selector. You don't have to hand out both champions. We're not crazy. But we have to give them one of the 2 latest champions. If you're a Valiant player, you get a 7-star selector. If you are someone lower, you get a 6-star selector. Newer players that come out on the right. So let's say a person is Cavalier. Okay, they've just played the game for a month now, but they see this Platinum Track. They are not as engaged with the community. They're not watching YouTube videos. They don't go into your web store every single day to collect that one daily crystal. But they've been playing the game passively, and they see that there's a new champion that has come out that they can buy for $50. It is the most easiest way to make new champions available to all players. Now, what about the Gold Track? Well, the Gold Track, you already have introduced Grandmaster's Grace crystals. I think at the 15-day mark and the 30-day mark, all players who are not paying for the Platinum Pass and have access to the Gold Track should get about 5 to 10 Grandmaster's Grace crystals with a chance to get these exact 2 new champions. And the reason you do this is because I know for a fact that these Grandmaster's Grace crystals have an incredibly low percent chance. I think it's somewhere around 0.8% to get a 7-star, and maybe even lower to get the featured 7-star. So I know for a fact that most players are not going to be able to get a Grandmaster's Grace Crystal and pull the latest and greatest champion. That is just not going to happen for the majority, 95-97% player base. However, there will be some occasional players who will build 7-stars and who will pull these new 7-stars for free. And I think if a player can pull a 7-star featured champion with a 0.8% chance, Kabam, you got to give it to them. Okay, let's not bitch about the fact that you're losing money because someone had a 0.8% chance and lucked out. Okay, let's not be assholes here. So the gold track this way is at least building the free to play player, or just players who don't occasionally want to spend $50 on the game, have a chance at the featured, and over the period of months, okay, they will be guaranteed one featured new 7-star, because the way the Grace Crystals work is you get a guaranteed 7-star champion once you open, let's say, 115 crystals. Okay, and if you give out 10 to 20 of these Grace Crystals, I suggest just 5 on the day 15 and 5 on the day 30th. So 10 a month, all the way up to the end of the year. Okay, so they will probably only be guaranteed one free 7-star feature champion at the end of the year, which I think the player base kind of deserves. It's not the worst thing in the world, right? And every time someone opens a 7-star with these Grace Crystals, they also reset, which means now if you want to pull the featured champion, you have to go all the way another 100 crystals, to get a featured champion. So I think this design is healthy. It's not too extravagant where Kabam is just going to start losing money, but it's going to make the Platinum Pass for paying players more digestible. It's not going to seem like a money grab. Your game is called Contest of Champions. Acquiring champions kind of is step one in this game. And if you as a company that spends hundreds of thousands of dollars a month designing a champion wants to sell it to players who want to just give you money for it, I think that's fair game. But I think you should do it in a more healthy way. Second, the Platinum Track Selector only has one of the 2 monthly champions, which means on the Summoners Market web store, there's whales who have already bought a bunch of the newer champions, but I think that the Platinum Track can be extended to the Summoners Market track every single month for these new champions coming out. So you have a 14-day online web track event where summoners who are spending on the web store can immediately buy these newer champions. And every 2 weeks, meaning both of those new champions can be bought on the web store. And for players who want to spend a little bit less, can pick one of those champions for $50. Now, the reason I feel comfortable with Kabam selling these champions directly for money the way that I'm suggesting they do is because of the Titan Crystal. The Titan Crystal is allowing players like myself to get new champions way faster than I've ever been able to get them. To give you an example, if we talk about the current Titan Crystal, okay, every new champion that came out this year, I feel like I have them. I have Nico, I have Carolina, I have the Silver Samurai, I have Jessica Drew, I have Bastion. I mean, all of these champions are now available in my roster at the highest rank that I could get them because of the Titan Crystal. And I have not spent a single dollar to get any of these champions. So I'm essentially getting these champions that are newer for free. So why not keep the Titan Crystal as it is before you start to realize that Titan is so good of a value that pay-to-play players are not spending in-game? Why not protect the Titan Crystal by making buying champions a staple of the game? All right? And I just want to conclude this whole idea with saying that these pay-to-get prices on the web store needs to come down. Okay, I've seen champions like Count Nefaria, Human Torch being sold for over 700 Canadian. That is absolutely mental. I don't think this is a healthy way to sustain the game. I think this is too much money. For one champion, it is way too much money. Okay, this is also a road to having your Veil player base completely disappear very quickly, because all it takes for them is to look at their bank balance once every 6 months and realize that they've been spending thousands of dollars on random 2 or 3 champions that now everyone in the player base has, and immediately a switch goes on where they think that this is not something they want to do, and you've entirely lost a massive part of your monetization community. So these need to be toned down. I should not be able to either buy a PlayStation 5 Pro with 5 of its best games versus buy one 7-star Human Torch who I don't even know if it's awakened or not, but you get the idea. Okay, the monetization of these champions on the web store needs to come down slightly. I'm not asking you to give them away for pennies. It could still be a couple of $100s, but it cannot be $500 every single month. That is insane. Okay, bring the price down and make it more accessible to people who can just spend $100 or $200 a month. Okay, let's go to the next slide. The Sigil store. Okay, so Summoner Sigil is an amazing idea that Kabam had to have a subscription model built into the game. A ton of companies, okay, from Netflix to Amazon Prime, survive on the subscription model, right? Sure, they sell ads and do other stuff, but there's companies who simply rely on people paying a subscription fee to access their game or their entertainment service or what it may be. Kabam 2 can somehow build a stronger subscription model, but the problem is that the subscription model they've built is absolutely garbage. It has no value to the people paying to get it. Here's what I designed as a new Sigil store in just like a couple of hours. Okay, what the idea of the Sigil store is needs to be discussed by Kabam. I see it as if I'm paying an extra $12 and tax for a subscription within the game, I want a slight edge over the non-paying player base. A slight edge. An edge that doesn't necessarily make me a better player, but gives my account in-game more value. Okay? So the way I say we do it is, first of all, Kabam already has 2 7-star crystals for all new players that you can buy for just 10,000 shards. Okay? This was their way of making 7 stars more accessible when they first introduced 7 stars. I say for everyone who isn't Valiant, just under Valiant, when they pay into the Sigil store, they should have access to, let's say, the 7-star crystal for 10,000 7-star shards. For players who are just becoming Cavalier or uncollected, should have access to 6-star crystals for a reduced price. What this does is it encourages people to get more champions by spending a little bit money every month. So if I'm someone who is grinding MCOC, I've started a new account and I'm getting the champions, the whole point of my playing from 0 to what the highest progression is to build a strong, tough roster. And that starts with having more champions. So simply selling 7 stars for a lower cost, and then for players like myself who are Valiant, who don't necessarily find any excitement out of opening a 7-star, and I'm sure that the community has heard this from multiple people who play MCOC on a higher level, is that 7 stars, they just don't mean anything. To the point that I would just pop a 7-star at the end of a stream and not care what I get out of it, right? If we, the end game player base, can get 7-star Nexuses for actually a higher price. Okay, I'm not asking you to lower the price. 20,000 7-star shards for one 7-star Nexus crystal, I would pay the $12 plus tax that I have to get the Summoner Sigil, because now I absolutely need that Nexus crystal, because I'm chasing a very small group of champions that I do not have. I do not want the randomness that every other player has. I'm willing to pay you a subscription fee month after month to give me the opportunity to actually pick one of the champions that I'm chasing. And you can have this reset every single month, only 3 Nexuses over the period of 1 month. Okay, only 3 7-stars over the period of 1 month, only 3 6-stars over the period of 1 month. It is not as drastic of a change, but it is a change that actually adds value to the $10, $12, $15 that you're paying into getting the subscription. Second, you have a small system, Kabam, built in where you can trade lower ranked resources for higher ranked resources. I think it's mostly garbage, okay? Because I don't want to trade tier 1 resources for tier 2, tier 2 resources for tier 3, tier 3 resources to tier 4. It does not make sense, okay? I could just sell, you just have the sell mechanic on steroids at that point. Build a system where the highest echelon of the tier rewards, let's say revives, which I've used in this example. This, what you're seeing here with the purple accents, is a level 6 revive. You cannot farm this revive anywhere except buy it for money from special offers. I want to be able to trade my level 1 revive. I could trade 4 of them, but I want a level 6 revive. I don't want to trade my level 1 for level 2, level 2 for level 3, level 3 for level 4. What is this tier system, okay? This makes no sense. Give me the highest resource that is not available anywhere else in the game, where I can get it by just trading the resource that is available in the game, which is tier 1 health revive, tier 2 revive, tier 3 revive, all being traded for a level 6 revive that I otherwise would not have access to. The exclusivity of this store is what is its biggest appeal. All right. Another thing, which I don't know why you haven't done this properly yet, is give a massive discount of 50 and 40% discount to the 2 Carb Cores and Stony Mastery Core within the Sigil store. You want Sigil stores to be a staple for players the minute they decide they're going to play MCOC. What is the only thing outside of champions and crystals that every new player needs? Masteries. All right. Getting masteries is extremely difficult. Buying units to get masteries is relatively easy. But if having a subscription gives you easy access to mastery cores at 50% of the price, then that is a no-brainer for newer players. Okay, a newer player who has bought into the Sigil store is buying mastery points, buying the mastery cores for half the price, getting the masteries faster, getting other value from this store, like the new 5-star Nexus crystal, then the 6-star Nexus, and now the 7-star Nexus. They're hooked on getting a subscription within the game as early as uncollected. Right? So you've already had a player who has invested in renewing the Sigil subscription from all the way back when they started the game to all the way now, where they're a Valiant player and can actually get a Nexus crystal, a 7-star Nexus crystal, a 7-star Titan Nexus crystal from this store. What other problem this solves? Well, there's a lot of endgame players who have access to so many Titan shards that there's a new complaint online that people are duping their champions from the Titan pool that are already SIG 200. So they're trading 20,000 Titan shards for 1,200 Titan shards. That's how far this game has come, that the latest champions are so far ahead ranked that duping them at SIG 200 is essentially wasting Titan shards. Well, now those exact people, without you having to change a thing about the Titan crystal, they can now spend 30,000 Titan shards instead to get a Titan Nexus. Okay, this way they can avoid getting a SIG 200 champion and get 26 on a champion that isn't SIG 200. Okay, they can do this 3 times every month, which means that they're losing up to 100,000 Titan shards by just opening 3 Nexus Titan crystals. And to do that, they are paying you, Kabam, they're paying you money. This is what it should be. Okay, and lastly, you see the little box that I've made. You have something called the weekly bundle within the Sigil store, which you get for free every week. It refreshes. It has a bunch of stuff that you get everywhere else in the game. I think you need to get rid of that. Okay, you need to stop sprinkling resources, sprinkling shards, sprinkling these 6 stones every random place that you can find without them being significant enough, and instead switch them for something that is meaningful. So let's say I'm someone who is paying you money for the monthly sigil subscription. Every week, the free bundle that I get should be 3 energy refills, 3 Alliance Quest energy refills, or 3 Alliance War energy refills. The same way that Alliance Quest energy refills can actually be switched out for Alliance Raid tokens. Okay? If you give me free access to the Alliance Raids and Nightmare Raids because I pay you $15 a month for 1 week, that brings more value to me than if you give me 700 7-star shards and some units and 1 6-stone every week. Do you know what I mean? So adding value to the sigil store is my idea of monetizing the game in the best way possible. Let's move on to the final suggestion, which is the sigil store already has a bunch of value with increased inventory. Thumbs up. You have quicker arena champ refresh. You refresh the champ, the energy, your standard quest energy. If you have arenas, also do the same thing. Awesome. Your energy refills within War and Alliance Quest should also refresh faster if you are a sigil subscription holder. And whatever you have going on with sigil credits, stop it. Instead, drop a trophy room within the sigil store. So month over month, you get only 1 sigil credit. Every month, you get a subscription. After 5 months, you can choose to pick up one of these featured trophy champions. It could be a 5-star, 7-star sigil witch, a king, a Thanos, a maestro. It can also be a deathless piece selector. I think right now, 5,000 units for 1 piece of a deathless champion, meaning you want someone to spend 15,000 units, okay, to get the 3 pieces that they may be missing. Okay, that's 25,000 units that you expect people to blow over 1 deathless champion. 25,000 units. That is insane value proposition. Absolutely insane. Instead, build a subscription base that is so strong that between the monthly platinum pass that everyone wants to get and feels like they need to get, plus the extra $10 to $15 sigil store that they need to get, that $65 value that you get from the majority of the player base feeds into your monetization goals better than you selling 1 7-star champion every 2 months for $700 to $800 on a track that half the player base just yells at you about. Okay, and having 1 deathless piece at the end of 1 month, meaning I have 5 at the end of 5 months, meaning that I still need to be subscribed to this sigil store for years before I can get all the deathless champions and then try and get Thanos from the mausoleum. I think this is a no-brainer. And by the time those 2 years have passed, you can come up with 10 other deathless champions in the meantime. I mean, this seems like the most obvious step to take, and I hope Kabam follows through with these suggestions. In the meantime, I want to appreciate everyone who watched this video. Please drop a like. If you haven't seen the previous videos, please do so. Rewatch this video once you're done. And let me know in the comments what you guys thought about the whole series. If you like this idea, if you would like to see more videos talking about the game like this. And yeah, I'm going to be streaming 7:30 p.m. PST every single day. So please come by the live stream, say hi, and I'll see you guys in the next one.